Hi Quilters, I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert.
And I'm Erica, corporate marketing specialist.
And we're here today to show you how to make our Go Dinosaur forest quilt. Now, we both have grandsons who will roar with delight to receive one of these quilts.
Absolutely. So let's show you how easy it is to put this quilt together.
Now, Erica, there are just so many things I love about this die and this project.
Yes.
First of all, Erica, it comes on that 6x12 die board.
Yes.
So it will fit in any of our Go cutters, including the Go Me.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, to make this baby quilt, you're also going to need the 6-inch cube and the companion angles, which also fit in all of our cutters. And it's so much easier to let the die do the cutting for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so next, the applique shapes are ones that I would never want to cut by hand.
Never.
But with AccuQuilt, these shapes come to life with just one pass through the cutter. This pattern is a free download at AccuQuilt.com, so you might want to pause the video and download a copy so that you can follow along.
Oh, that's a great idea. Now, the pattern uses 3 different dies to create our Dinosaur petrified forest. One comes from the 6-inch cube mix and match block, which is shape 1.
Yes.
And the other 2 come from the Cube Companion angles, which are shapes 13 and 14.
Right. So we're going to show you a couple of slick tricks to cut out your petrified forest without wasting any fabric. Now the first technique is called cut and flip, and that's what we're going to use with the center triangle that you see from our triangle and a square.
Right there.
Now you'll find step-by-step directions on the cut and flip method in the book that comes with your companion set angles.
Excellent.
So remember, you can always cut up to 6 layers of good quilting cotton in one pass through the cutter. So you want to turn your die so that the point is to your left.
Correct.
And then you want to measure so that you've got a 1/4 inch on either side and cut your width of fabric strip.
Instead of fan folding our fabric back and forth,
which we usually do,
we're just going to lay our strips facing up like this.
Perfect.
Now I have 6 layers here.
Yep.
And don't worry about this little tail.
Right.
There are no blades inside the cutter.
Okay. And this is a 6x6 mat and a 6x6 die board. It works best that way.
Yes. Now listen, this isn't the only trick we have up our sleeves.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're going to give that mat a little love. Static's kind of built up as it's gone through the cutter. So now look at this. It's cut perfectly our isosceles triangles.
Right.
Now, what I'm going to do next is take this whole set of fabric and flip it over.
Yep.
Put them out on top, and we'd run it through again, and we're never going to waste fabric.
Right. Now, our next tip is with shape number 14. Now this is going to create the sides for that triangle and the square. Now what you want to remember about this shape is that it is critical to fan fold. So you want to go ahead and place your fabric over. We're going to turn it this way.
Right there.
Over.
Yep.
And now we're going to fan fold. We've got up to our 6 layers.
Perfect.
Now, if you don't fan fold and in even numbers, you're going to waste fabric because this is a directional shape.
It is.
And we need both right side and left side.
Excellent. All right, so I'll let you cut that.
Perfect.
And look how fast. Think of how hard it would be to cut those shapes by hand.
Oh my gosh, it would take so long.
All right, give it a little love.
There you go.
Slide, don't lift. And now look, we have a left and a right for each of our isosceles triangles.
That's right.
Perfect. All right, we have one last shape to cut,
Yes.
Erica. And this is shape number 1. And this is the shape that you're going to need for the mountains, which are right here, okay?
Okay.
So we're just going to put, again, our shapes, we're going to measure from here to here, cut with the fabric.
With the fabric, there we go. Mat me.
Match on there.
Okay. This is such a quick, easy project. You really would have this done in no time.
You could just cut it out so fast.
All right, so we'll give that some love. We've got some squares here, and now I think
Ta-da!
we're ready to put some mountains
We
together.
are.
You want to see how perfectly this triangle and a square comes. I think, are you going to sew some sides?
Yes.
Great chain piecing project.
Right.
You're going to start with sewing all of one side on, then all the other.
Right.
And those dog-eared corners are going to be perfect. Remember, with that 1/4 inch seam allowance, if you can sew a straight line, you can use our system. You can make great quilts.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so look at this, quilters. So here's the right, and here's the left.
Yep.
And just like Erica said, we're going to build a right and a left for each one.
Oh, perfect.
And we're just going to chain piece for days.
That's a great way to lay it out, Pam.
That's how we do it.
Love it.
So I'm going to just do the triangles and then the right side, show you
Okay.
how easy this is. And then Erica, do you want to show how easy that's going to be because of those dog-eared corners and how that piece fits on there?
Absolutely. So this, when you look at it, when you turn your right sides together, look how that dog ear is going to match right up perfectly. And that edge is always going to give you, here, it's ready to go.
It is.
Always going to show you just where that 1/4 inch seam allowance is.
Now, quilters ask us all the time, are we sewing a true 1/4 inch seam or scant 1/4 inch seam? What would you say, Erica?
I would say a true 1/4 inch seam.
Yep, all the time.
But you do want to check your 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Right.
And that's something to check really every time you're starting a new project. I keep a seam guide handy. You want to go ahead, use the thread you're going to use your iron, press it the way you're going to press it, and then measure it.
Right.
It's just great to check because everything's gonna, there's variables. All
Right.
fabric, all thread, not created equal, right?
All the time. All right. So now that we have sewn our triangles together,
Perfect.
okay, and our half triangles, the sides, now I'm going to press my seam open. And why are we going to press them open, Erica?
Because that's gonna help us get that perfect point at the top.
Yeah, and it's going to just make it lay so flat.
It is.
Again, quilters, you want to make sure you download the pattern, read all the instructions. We're going to suggest also that you make a little test block.
Practice with your mountains. Make sure you got them cut out right.
Here we go.
And this is a great project. You could do it scrappy,
Oh, absolutely.
or you could do it very planned out like we have here.
Yes. Okay.
You know, if you might have any scraps laying around.
I feel like people have scraps and stash.
I feel like they do.
Okay, so we're going to sew just these couple ones together here
Perfect.
and just show you how easy our little blocks go together.
Love it.
I do have a little tip though, Erica, that I like to tell quilters. I like to sew from the wide end to the narrow end.
Okay.
It doesn't catch at the bottom.
Oh, right.
You know,
Perfect.
sometimes it gets
It's a
that
great
little
tip. That
point
is a
at the
great
bottom.
tip. All right. So for each of these little rows, we've got 3 triangle and a square units.
Right. And again, you could make as many rows as you wanted. You could make more than one row of mountains
You can make all the mountains all together.
all the time.
So once you've got your mountains done, and Pam's going to press those out,
Yep.
then you're ready to go ahead and put that block together. And basically, you're making a 9 patch.
Right.
We've got 6 of our squares topped with 3 squares that are our mountains.
Right. And the thing that you're going to create here, when we cut those squares and sew them together, is we want to press in opposite directions so they nest.
Oh, because we love to nest our seams.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So here's one of our little mountain shapes.
Love
So
it.
you would continue to make and follow the pattern.
Okay.
Works perfectly every time.
Perfect. All right. So this new dinosaur die has 3 different dinosaur shapes on it. We've got a Stegosaurus,
Yes.
our T-Rex,
Yes.
and a Brachiosaurus.
Right. There we
Now,
go.
we would not attempt cutting these by hand. So what you'll want to do is go ahead and pre-fuse your fabric
Right.
before you cut. Be sure and cut that fusible as half a layer. That means you can cut up to 4 layers of pre-fused cotton.
Right.
Now, if you want your dinosaurs all facing the same direction, place your fabric all the same direction.
Correct.
Now, if you want some up and some down,
Which is
you're
kind of
gonna
what we did
place
here.
some of your fabric right side up and some of it right side down.
Yeah. So look at this. So we've already pre-fused it,
Yep.
which answers the question, will it cut the paper in the fusible and the fabric?
And the answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely. Now, once you've cut your dinosaurs, you have a couple of options to finish them. First, you could use the free embroidery files available at AccuQuilt.com. We have 3 different stitches, a blanket stitch, a satin stitch, and a motif stitch.
Yes.
If you're going to use the embroidery files, I would suggest you do that now. On this particular block, you would add the dinosaurs before you sew your blocks
Good
together.
idea.
Okay?
Good idea.
And then here's a cute little sample of our dinosaurs with our motif stitch.
So cute.
So here's our cute little Stegosaurus, and it even does the eye.
Love it.
I love it.
Love it. Okay, now if you don't have an embroidery machine, it's not a problem. You could finish these dinosaurs with any decorative stitch from your machine. You could use raw edge quilting,
Yes.
or you could just fuse them down and quilt over the top.
There you go.
So once you've got your top all put together and pressed, you'll go ahead and layer it with your batting and your backing.
Right?
Go ahead and pin or baste it and quilt it the way you want.
Yes. Then you'll finish it off with binding, and don't forget to miter those corners.
Download the pattern again. For this project, it's a free pattern.
It is.
And you can get the full directions at AccuQuilt.com.
Remember, at AccuQuilt, we want to help you cut time
so you can quilt more.